$100 horror story cost her life. While strolling down the street with my best friend, we came across someone selling horror stories. 100 yuan for a story, told face to face. If it didn't scare you, you didn't have to pay. My friend wanted to try it. I was too timid to go near. Unexpectedly, after she finished listening, she abandoned me and ran off. It wasn't until evening that she finally called me. Her voice was trembling as she forced out a single sentence. Whatever you do, don't go listen to that story. And then, she jumped. While walking down the street, a small stall caught my attention. Behind it, 4 sheets of black cloth had been set up to form a makeshift room. In front hung a handwritten sign. Horror stories for sale. 100 yuan per story. If it doesn't scare you, you don't pay. It felt strangely novel. This was the first time I had ever seen someone selling stories. The moment my best friend Gu Xiaoli saw it, her eyes lit up. She was obsessed with all things horror and thrill. Almost every horror novel and film on the market, she had seen them all. Every year, she even set aside time to visit famous haunted houses, both at home and abroad. By now, her tolerance for fear had reached an absurd level, the kind of horror films that left ordinary people too scared to even go to the bathroom at night. After watching them, her heartbeat wouldn't even quicken. Gu Xiaoli stared at the sign, raising an eyebrow. If it doesn't scare you, you don't pay? She let out a laugh. Wow, that's a bold claim. All right then. Let me teach this guy a proper lesson today. With that, she grabbed my hand and pulled me straight toward the stall. There was no one outside. Just as she was about to call out, the black curtain was suddenly pulled aside. When I saw the figure step out from within, I flinched. The person wore a loose black robe with a hood pulled low, their entire face hidden in shadow. You're the owner? Faced with Gu Xiaoli's question, the robed figure said nothing, only pointed at the sign. Gu Xiaoli took out a 100 yuan bill and handed it over. If I'm not scared, you give this back. The figure nodded, lifted the curtain, and gestured for her to enter. I leaned in to peek inside. Something had clearly been arranged there. Not a single ray of sunlight could get through. It was pitch dark, as if it swallowed everything whole. A chill crept up my spine. I tugged gently at Gu Xiaoli's sleeve. Xiaoli, what if it's dangerous? Maybe you shouldn't go in. She patted my hand lightly and smiled. He's just putting on a creepy act. Might scare ordinary people, but it won't work on me. Relax, I'll be right out. After she stepped inside, the robed figure followed slowly behind, disappearing beneath the curtain. As the fabric fell back into place, for some reason, my heart trembled with it. Time passed. Inside, there was only dead silence. No sound. No movement. As if the 2 people who had entered had simply vanished. Half an hour went by. Gu Xiaoli still hadn't come out. My mind began racing with thoughts of kidnappings, disappearances. Just as I was about to call her, the curtain lifted. Gu Xiaoli stepped out. Something was terribly wrong. Her face was deathly pale. Her hands were clenched into fists. Her lips had lost all color, trembling uncontrollably. A wave of unease hit me. Xiaoli, are you okay? She didn't answer. She only lifted her head and looked at me, deeply. That look made my heart skip. There was fear in her eyes, unwillingness, and even a trace of resentment. After that single glance, she turned and ran. She ran fast, too fast for me to catch up. I texted her. I called her. No response. I couldn't believe it. Was that story really that terrifying? It wasn't until nightfall that she finally called me. Relief flooded through me as I answered. But before I could say a word, a piercing, horrified scream exploded from the other end of the line. After saying that, she hung up. It wasn't until the next day that I received the news. Gu Xiaoli had jumped to her death. She had opened the window and leapt straight down from the 36th floor. Her body shattered into a mangled mass of flesh. It felt like someone had struck me hard across the head. My mind went blank. If this news hadn't come from her fiancé, Chen Yang, I would have believed it was nothing more than a cruel joke. In my eyes, Gu Xiaoli had absolutely no reason to take her own life. She had a job she loved, a stable career, parents who adored her, a fiancé who cherished her. In fact, she and Chen Yang were only 1 month away from their wedding. Just a few days ago, she had been discussing the wedding details with me. I couldn't understand it. Why would she suddenly choose to die? Thinking back to how strange she had acted yesterday, a possibility crept into my mind. Could it be that her death had something to do with that horror story the man in black told? But the moment the thought appeared, even I found it absurd. That evening, I sat at the dinner table, staring at the delicious meal my husband, Zhou He, had prepared. Yet I had no appetite at all. He took off his apron and walked over, pulling me gently into his arms. "Bebe, I know Xiaoli's death has hit you hard, but the dead can't come back. If she saw you like this, she'd only feel worse." My eyes reddened as I buried my face in his chest. "Honey, Xiaoli's suicide was too sudden. I keep thinking, could it be because of that horror story she listened to? Maybe I should go back there and find out. After what happened to Xiaoli, I had told Zhou He everything." As he listened, I could clearly feel his body stiffen, just for a moment. He gently patted my back, but his voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. "Bebe, I won't let you go. Xiaoli killed herself because the story was too terrifying. That's why, before she died, she called you, to warn you not to listen to it." His explanation did nothing to ease my mind. I couldn't believe that Gu Xiaoli, of all people, could be scared into suicide by a story. But if it wasn't the story, then why, before she died, did she say that to me? As my thoughts spiraled, my phone suddenly rang. It was Chen Yang. His voice was hoarse, drained, filled with grief. "Wang Bei, I saw that Xiaoli called you before she died. Can you tell me what exactly she said to you?" I parted my lips, but didn't know what to say. Was I really supposed to tell Chen Yang the truth? Just as I hesitated, his voice came through again, choked, on the verge of breaking. "I've checked the security cameras at home, over and over. Yesterday, after she got back from shopping with you, Xiaoli curled up in the corner of the living room, hugging a pillow, trembling non-stop. She stayed like that until night. Then, she started screaming and laughing at the same time. And in the end, she called you and jumped. I need to know what exactly happened when you two were out. What did she say to you on that call? Bebe, you were her closest friend. Please, can you tell me?" Every word from Chen Yang sounded like it was bleeding, as if his heart were being torn apart. Faced with that plea, I couldn't bring myself to refuse. But if Gu Xiaoli had truly died because of that story, then telling Chen Yang, wouldn't that be harming him too? And yet, why did Xiaoli only warn me not to go, instead of telling me to stop Chen Yang as well? Just as I was caught in that hesitation, my phone was suddenly taken from my hand. It was Zhou He. "Bebe is too devastated right now. She can't talk. She already told me everything. Nothing unusual happened during their outing. And Xiaoli's last call was just to tell her to take care of herself. Please accept our condolences. In a few days we'll come to see her off." After hanging up, "Zhou," he said calmly, "not telling Chen Yang is for his own good." I looked at him in surprise. His expression was far too composed, almost unnaturally calm. Could it be that he knew something? The next day, as I went out to buy groceries, a figure suddenly rushed toward me. Chen Yang stood in front of me, his eyes bloodshot, his hair greasy and hanging messily over his forehead. He looked nothing like the clean, well-groomed man I knew. Bei. I thought about it all night. I still feel like Joe. He is lying to me. That day, when Shaoli was out with you, something must have happened. Otherwise, why would she only call you, and not me? I bit my lip, unsure how to respond. Then, with a dull thud, the tall man in front of me dropped to his knees. Wang Bei, I'm begging you, please tell me. If I don't know why Shaoli died, I'll never find peace for the rest of my life. Looking at the man before me, so deeply in love, I couldn't hold back my tears. In the end, I told him everything, from beginning to end. He quietly said thank you, then turned and walked away without looking back. As I watched his retreating figure, fear crept into my heart. Yet strangely, there was also a trace of anticipation. I hoped Chen Yang could find out what exactly Gu Shaoli had heard behind that black curtain. What kind of story could possibly hold such terrifying, evil power, enough to drive someone to take their own life? Time passed slowly as I waited. Even when I drifted off to sleep that night, there was still no news from him. The next morning, the moment I saw a message notification on my phone, I jolted awake. It was from Chen Yang. My heart raced as I opened it. But there was nothing there. At 1 a.m, he had sent me a message, and then unsent it. What had he written? Why did he take it back? I immediately texted him, but an hour passed with no reply. Frowning, I tried calling him. No answer. A sharp chill ran through me. A terrible premonition began to rise. I rushed out the door, got in my car, and drove straight to his place. Ignoring the risk of a ticket, I parked by the roadside and ran into the apartment complex. As I approached his building, I heard the sound of an ambulance. A crowd had gathered downstairs. Fragments of conversation drifted into my ears, like electric shocks, making my whole body tremble. He was so young. Why would he do something like that? So scary. I'm never going up to the 17th floor again. Do you know how he died? I've never heard of anything like it. It took me a long time to finally accept the truth. Chen Yang was dead. He had hanged himself from a rope beside the bathroom sink.